This is the Windows install part 2 of our AWS project. We're going to go ahead and go to our starter account in AWS. And we'll again remember to choose your class. And then at which point, once the class loads, you can go ahead and go to the AWS console. We'll go to Services, EC2. At which point you'll notice you'll have one running Linux install. It's important to remember this availability zone because that zone is important for our Windows install so that we put both Linux and Windows in the same subnet. In my case, it's US East 1A. Also check the security group. So let's go ahead and launch our instance. It's going to be a Windows 2019 server. We'll use the default. And here, we'll go ahead and change our subnet preference to use the US East 1A, which is what I noted earlier. Yours will be different, so remember what your zone will be. We'll go through these steps pretty quickly. Here, you'll choose your Windows security group, give it the name Windows. We'll come back later and add some rules. And remember to use the same key pair. We're going to open up a new tab. While that instance is loading, we'll go ahead and set up our rules for our security group. In order to do that, we need to go to our VPC. And that's going to be our virtual private cloud. From here, we can go to the left and choose security group. And we have two of them now. We have the Linux security group and the Windows. What we're going to do is we're going to select the group ID of the Linux, and we're going to edit the rules of the Windows. Let's go ahead and add the ICMP, all ICMP messages, and we can go ahead and paste that group ID. All right, now let's go ahead and do the same thing for our Linux. We copy the group ID for the Windows, edit the rule set, all ICMP messages, and paste the group ID. Okay, you can always verify it's correct because at some point the group ID will have the Linux and Windows in there respectively of each other's rules. Okay, so once this is done, we can go ahead and connect to our Windows server. It's still initializing, so I will go ahead and pause the video for a short period until it completes. Okay, so it's completed. We're going to go ahead at this point, connect to it. I downloaded the RDP already, and at this point I'm going to go ahead and upload my PEM file from a previous install. Okay, for security purposes, I'm blocking that encryption and the password. I'm going to click on my RDP. The username will be administrator, and the password will be the password that you copied from the clipboard. Go ahead and remote into it. This server's just been initialized, so it's going to take a little bit to get up and running. I'm verifying at this point the private IPs because in order for this to work, we want to verify that we can ping both IPs. So from the Windows server, we won't have any problem pinging the Linux because we don't have a firewall on the Linux server. At least not by default. But in reverse, from the Linux server to the Windows server, there is a Windows firewall, which will require us to open up ICMP on the Windows firewall. And I'll take you through those steps. First off, let's verify we can ping the Linux. So we're going to open up a command prompt. As you can tell, the server's still loading, so it's taking us a step. Okay, so 172.31.95.223. Get back to the Windows server. And we are successfully able to ping the Linux server. Okay, at this point, we're going to bring up a PuTTY session. I'm going to have to locate my PuTTY install. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong Linux server. Okay, so let me close that, do this again. Okay, I'll just get the public IP. There it is. And I'll paste that in there and verify my SSH key is still available. Paste that in the PPK. And connect. EC2-user. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and attempt to ping. This is the private IP of the Windows server. 172.31.86.47. Okay. As you can tell, we're not getting a response, so it's actually failing. So at this point, we'll need to go back to the Windows server and open up a firewall role and then attempt this again. Here we're just verifying our rule set. If you notice now, on the Windows server, there's a Linux rule, and then on the Linux server, there's a Windows rule. So both of those are set up correctly. Okay. And we'll just search for our firewall settings. Okay, this is a publicly facing Windows server. So the last thing we want to do is actually turn off the firewall. So we're just going to add an exception. We'll choose all programs and we'll choose ICMP v4. And for now, we'll do any address. Allow the connection. And we'll do all sets. In a production environment, you'll want to choose which IP as well as domain or private. You wouldn't want to allow ping from the internet. Okay, and before we finished, if you noticed, it started to ping. We're going to go ahead and clear this. Okay, and let's attempt to ping again. And it's successful. So now we're able to ping the Windows server from Linux.